Special meeting of the Centro City Council for Tuesday, September the 24th, 2024. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Carter,
Present.
Councilmember Oliva,
Present.
Councilmember Garcia,
Present.
Interim Mayor Pro Tem Cardenas Singh,
Present.
Mayor Marroquin.
Present. Councilmember Cardenas Singh, please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Excuse me. Intro.
Hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing. Councilmember Carter, please lead us in an invocation.
Please bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you just simply saying thank you. We ask you just to go from the north, the east, the south, and the west and bless the whole Imperial Valley, Lord. We're asking for you just to put your hands on everybody that's in here today, Lord, and you just take the front seat. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
This is a public hearing to consider the possible censure of City Council Member Edgar Garcia pursuant to the provisions of City Resolution Number 2182, the Norms and Procedures, Section 17, censure. It is very important that the person who may be censured be heard. For that reason, I want to explain how the hearing will proceed and the time for public comments. The investigation conducted by the city is provided in the agenda packet in the same manner as other hearing materials. Councilmember Garcia has had this report since August the 13th, 2024. First, the city manager and city attorney will briefly present a staff report regarding the complaint presented to the council, the investigation process, and the findings, as well as subsequent events. Second, the accused council member, Edgar Garcia, has the chance to make an opening and closing statement and to question council member Oliva, his accuser. The process has been coordinated with council member Garcia via a letter to him from the city attorney to confirm that he has been given an opportunity to respond to the investigation findings and other points. At the end of his presentation, the council will hear public comments. Please limit those comments to the subject matter of the hearing. For this hearing, it is very important that all those involved and all speakers comply with the city's decorum rules. This is a public hearing. Because of Council Member Garcia's threat of litigation, this hearing is being transcribed by a shorthand reporter as well as recorded. Therefore, please speak slowly and clearly. Persons wishing to address the council regarding the subject matter of the hearing are not required to identify themselves. However, this information assists the mayor by ensuring that all persons wishing to address the council are recognized and also assist the city clerk in preparing the city council meeting minutes. When your name is called by the mayor, please step to the podium and state your name for the record. Unless the mayor extends the time, there is a 3-minute time limit for each person's comments. You may not show a visual presentation or provide a handout without prior review of that material. If you do so, you will be considered out of order. Comments or questions must be regarding the subject matter of the hearing. As provided in the norms and procedures, the mayor will maintain order. Any member may require the mayor to enforce the rules. Inappropriate behavior is derogatory and damages the perception of the city. No council member or member of the public shall interrupt any member of the council or the public while that person is speaking. The council, absent council member Garcia, shall take time for deliberation after the hearing is completed. Everyone must be treated with courtesy and respect. The city manager and the city attorney will now present the staff report.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is going to be a bit lengthy, but please bear with me. I'm going to try to cover as best and as fast as possible. For background, on May 7th, 2024, Councilmember Tomas Oliva raised a complaint and request for censure against fellow council member Garcia, as outlined in Section 17, Resolution Number 21-82 of the City Norms and Procedures. Censure refers to a formal reprimand by the city council for a serious violation of law or city policy, not for minor errors in judgment made in good faith. The complaint, which addresses conduct rather than speech, was added to the agenda, and the council initiated an investigation process. An ad hoc committee consisting of the mayor and councilmember Carter was formed to review the allegations, and the city attorney and city manager participated as committee staffers. The city retained the JL Group to conduct an investigation. The committee determined the allegations were substantiated and a censure hearing was necessary. On August 13th, 2024, the investigation report, exhibits, and cover memo were delivered to Councilmember Garcia and all other members of the council in accordance with the norms and procedures. The materials were provided 30 days in advance of the initial hearing set for September 17th, 2024. The investigation and related documents are now presented for the hearing today. The investigation report and sustained allegations. The investigation focused on two key allegations against Councilmember Garcia. One, whether he failed to attend conferences or meetings paid for by the city of El Centro in his role as council member. And two, whether he attended meetings or conferences as a city representative while possibly under the influence of alcohol or after consuming alcohol. The investigators sustained both findings based on the evidence gathered as outlined in the executive summary and the detailed report. The executive summary states this investigation examined allegations against Councilmember Garcia. The focus was on whether Garcia attended events for which the city of El Centro or Cal Cities had prepaid his travel, accommodations, and fees. The investigation found the city had paid for Garcia's attendance at two events: the Cal Cities City Leaders Summit in Sacramento from April 16th through the 20th, and the Cal Cities Public Safety Policy Committee meeting on March 22nd, 2024 in Burbank. In relation to the Sacramento events, Councilmember Garcia stated that he traveled to Sacramento from Tuesday, April 16th through Saturday, April 20th, but was unable to attend the Cal Cities Leaders Summit session on Wednesday and Thursday due to a work emergency that required his attention. He also stated that due to illness, he did not attend the Cal Cities Board of Directors meetings after the conference on Friday and Saturday. One of the witnesses interviewed during this investigation appeared to refute Councilmember Garcia's claims. Councilmember Garcia stated that he worked on an emergency all day Wednesday and Thursday in his room. Witness Brett Roche stated during his interview that on Wednesday, April 17, he spent a significant portion of the day with Councilmember Garcia, traveling to the city of Roseville for lunch at Top Golf. On the way back to Sacramento, they stopped at a bar for drinks. Councilmember Garcia was also admittedly in the bar area of the Sacramento Hyatt Regency Hotel on Thursday during the 3 o'clock hour when the conference sessions were between 3:45 p.m. and 5 p.m. Subsequently, he did not attend any conference sessions on this day either. Regarding the Board of Directors meetings on Friday and Saturday, Councilmember Garcia stated that he was not feeling well and did not attend either day. Mr. Roche stated that he picked up Councilmember Garcia Friday to go to dinner, and after dinner, they watched a Viking marathon on TV for 4 to 5 hours in Councilmember Garcia's room. Mr. Roche also stated that Mr. Garcia wanted to go out Saturday morning, but Mr. Roche declined. Based on witness statements and Councilmember Garcia's acknowledgement that he did not attend the conference or board meetings, the allegation that Mr. Garcia failed to attend work-related conferences or meetings that the city had paid for was sustained. It should also be noted that Mr. Garcia's veracity was questionable based on witness statement that directly refuted Mr. Garcia's statements. The provisions of the investigation report. In regard to the event in Burbank that was referenced in Councilmember Oliva's complaint, it appeared that Councilmember Garcia attended at least a portion of the scheduled meeting that took place on March 22nd. Therefore, the allegation as to this portion of the complaint is not sustained. Councilmember Oliva also alleged that Councilmember Garcia, while representing the city in his capacity as council member, had attended meetings while being under the influence of alcohol. In his complaint, Councilmember Oliva referenced a specific city council meeting on April 2nd, where he felt that Councilmember Garcia may have been under the influence of alcohol. Many of the witnesses interviewed during the investigation corroborated Councilmember Oliva's concern and felt that Councilmember Garcia's behavior during the meeting, the odor of alcohol on Councilmember Garcia's breath, and their prior experiences and observations of Councilmember Garcia in social settings when he had consumed alcohol led them to believe that he may have been under the influence of alcohol at this meeting. In a meeting several weeks after the April 2nd council meeting, Councilmember Garcia admitted to Mayor Marroquin, Councilmember Sonia Carter, and the Human Resources Director that he had consumed cold medicine and alcohol prior to the April 2nd council meeting. In his complaint, Councilmember Oliva also referenced the Cal City's Public Safety Policy Committee meeting that had taken place on March 22nd at the Marriott Burbank Airport Hotel. At the time, Councilmember Garcia served on the Public Safety Policy Committee. It should be noted that the city had paid for Councilmember Garcia's travel, hotel room, and expenses for this event. Councilmember Oliva stated that he had observed Councilmember Garcia sitting in the hotel's bar area, drinking alcohol between the meetings scheduled for that day. Councilmember Garcia stated that on March 22nd, he had attended the morning briefing meeting from 10 a.m. until 11 a.m. While walking to the next meeting, which started immediately after the first session, he stopped in the bar and had 3 double shots of Tito's vodka. Bar receipts confirmed that Councilmember Garcia had been consuming alcohol between these meetings. Councilmember Garcia left the bar area at 11:15 in the morning and went directly to his committee meeting. While it is difficult to ascertain Councilmember Garcia's level of intoxication at either of these meetings, the preponderance of the evidence, along with Councilmember Garcia's statements, indicate that he had consumed alcohol before or during the 2 incidents that were highlighted in Councilmember Oliva's complaint, and subsequently, this allegation was sustained. The provisions of the investigation report. On September 6th, the city provided Councilmember Garcia with a letter outlining the procedures for this upcoming censure hearing. On September 11th, Councilmember Garcia requested a 1-week continuance from the scheduled September 17th hearing, which the mayor granted to ensure Councilmember Garcia's due process rights were upheld. The new hearing date was set for September 24th, and the item was removed from the September 17th agenda. Later, on September 11th, Councilmember Garcia sent a concerning text message hinting at a potential conflict, which is attached to the proceedings documents. The special meeting notice was posted, and a hearing materials were provided to all parties on September 18th. The hearing process. The public censure hearing will be the first agenda item during this evening's special meeting. Individuals wishing to comment must fill out a speaker slip, and the meeting will be available via Zoom. The mayor will preside over the hearing and read an expanded decorum statement before the proceedings begin. The city's presentation will include the investigative report, additional evidence from Councilmember Garcia's text message, and a staff report on possible violations of law and city policy. Councilmember Garcia will have the opportunity to make statements, question his accuser, and provide a closing statement before public comment. After public input, the council will deliberate without Councilmember Garcia's participation and decide based on the majority vote, considering the investigation, the presented evidence, and the public comments. The possible violations of state law. The possible violations related to Councilmember Garcia include breaches of Government Code Section 5323.2 through 5323.5.2, which govern travel reimbursements and ethics training for public officials. Specifically, sections 5323.2 requires that any expenses outside official duties be approved by the city council. Councilmember Garcia last completed ethics training on August 31st, 2022, as required every 2 years by section 5323.5. If Councilmember Garcia misused city travel funds, penalties under section 5323.2.4 could apply, including loss of reimbursement privileges, restitution, civil penalties, or prosecution. Additionally, Government Code Section 3001 states that intoxication while performing official duties could result in a misdemeanor and forfeiture of office. Possible violations of city policy. City Policy 105.1, included in the investigation report, outlines the procedures for council members' travel. It specifically addresses situations where council members receive payment to attend a meeting but cannot attend. Reimbursement for no-show and late cancellations. In this section, it addresses situations where an official fails to attend an event after the official has incurred the expenses but already has received payment for associated expenses. Refunds to city for no-show and late cancellations. If a city official is unable to attend a planned trip or event for which the city has prepaid expenses, the official must ensure that any prepaid fees are refunded within 30 days. If full refunds are not possible, the official must provide a written explanation to the city manager within 30 days, citing reasons like illness or family emergencies. The city manager will evaluate the explanation for compliance with policy. If the reasons are insufficient, the official must promptly refund the city. Failure to provide an explanation or refund may result in the fees being deducted from the official's salary or other penalties outlined in Section 8 of the policy. The standards for making the decisions regarding censure. The question to be determined is whether or not, based upon substantial evidence, including the investigation report and evidence presented by Councilmember Garcia, whether or not Councilmember Garcia engaged in conduct that constituted a violation of law or serious violation of an adopted policy. As such, substantial evidence means written or oral evidence in which a reasonable person is entitled to rely. Censure should not follow an occasional error in judgment, which occurs in good faith and is unintentional. The council is not required to censure Councilmember Garcia. As indicated, it is a political act. After deliberation, council members absent Councilmember Garcia will vote on the resolution provided in this agenda packet. Failure to vote on the resolution or no vote on the resolution means that the censure does not occur. The censure resolution. Censure carries no fine or suspension of the rights of a council member as an elected official, but is a political action that serves as a punishment for wrongdoing. Censure may include loss of privileges such as positions appointed by the council, but cannot include removal from office or a bar to carrying out official duties. For example, if it were determined that Councilmember Garcia should be censured, he may be removed from all city committees, barred from receiving travel reimbursement, and removed from the role of Mayor Pro Tem. The council also should require repayment of funds owed to the city as provided by the city policy or deduction from future stipends. The resolution includes possible council actions to carry out of the censure as examples only. The resolution requires the affirmative vote of the 3 council members without Councilmember Garcia to pass. The council may refer to the matter to the district attorney, including under Government Code Section 3001. Councilmember Garcia cannot vote on the resolution. Madam Mayor, that's the end of the staff report.
Thank you, Mr. Cesenia. So now, colleagues, do you have any questions? None at this time? Okay. We will now have the presentation by Councilmember Edgar Garcia, who may make an opening statement, question his accuser, and make a closing statement. Councilmember Garcia?
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Councilmember Edgar Garcia. I'd like to begin by stating that I've served this council diligently, going on my 9th year now. It has been my utmost honor and privilege to serve the citizens of El Centro, and we have accomplished many great things over the 9 years that I've served. I had the privilege of serving with the previous council when I was first elected. During that time, we were able to open the door on the revitalization and growth of this city. It has been the greatest moments in my life to be part of that, to be able to work with this great team in the city of El Centro and to see the changes that we have effectuated over the years. Now, as to the topic at hand, this censure in the city of El Centro, I believe, is unprecedented. It is a political act. I have questions as to the timing and motivation behind it. The complaint was originally brought against me by Councilmember Tomas Oliva, who many of you know was a political opponent of mine previous to the filing of this complaint in the primary election for state assembly. Our relationship was never good during this campaign or subsequent to it. However, this does not mean that I am perfect. I am not saying that I am perfect. I don't think anybody is. We all make mistakes. We're all human, and we try to serve the community as best we can in this role as an elected official. I have taken this position with pride, and I have always tried to put the best foot forward and represent this city to the best of my abilities. As far as the allegations go on the complaint, the allegations made against me were based on opinion, were based on hearsay, observation, rumor, but there was no objective evidence against me. As far as the one detailed complaint that I did not attend the Cal City's Policy Committee at the Marriott Burbank Airport Hotel on March 22nd, that was just not correct, and that was found in the investigation. I attended that. I spoke during the meeting. We specifically discussed Prop 47 and overturning it. I remember it because that is something that has always been dear to my heart because of my profession and something that I have advocated for. I provided not only evidence of the attendance roster, which listed my name in attendance, but I also provided the investigator actual photographs of inside the committee during the presentation. Because the presentation was so interesting, I took some pictures. So the body of this complaint, one of them being a subjective observation of me, which I explained as to my drowsiness because I was under the weather and had taken probably too much cold medicine. And the second one being the fact that I did attend the meeting that they stated that I did not. As far as Sacramento goes, I admitted immediately that I did have some issues, and that was not one of the complaints that was made against me. It was kind of open-ended. So I focus on the one on Burbank because that allegation was just frankly false. I will continue to serve the residents of El Centro so long as they deem fit that I should do so. I have a vision, just like I did when I ran for office and was lucky enough to be elected. And I continue to have that vision for growth and prosperity for all of our residents. As I am a resident, so is my wife and children and all of the friends and wonderful people that I've met that live in this great city of ours. I apologize for subjecting our staff and everybody else involved to this political theater. The suspect nature of the timing with re-election coming up so soon is not lost on me. Again, I am not perfect. I have made mistakes. People on this dais, both right now and before, have been involved in controversy of their own, and we have never seen censure. I believe this is exaggerated. However, I do take responsibility for my part in it. As far as my intentions go, like I stated, I will proudly continue to serve as long as the citizens deem that I should do so. And that concludes my statement.
Thank you, Councilmember Garcia. Yes. Okay. So Councilmember Garcia, would you like to question your accuser or make a closing statement?
No.
Thank you. Okay, members, council members, any questions or comments?
Madam Mayor, the questions or comments that you're asking for, are those general questions, and to whom are you asking them to be directed to?
Are you asking if these questions, your questions now, or are you asking if you should bring them up during the deliberations?
That's what I'm asking.
Why don't we do them during the deliberations? Because I think you're almost there.
Got it, thank you.
I will now open the public comment period. Is there anyone in the audience remotely wishing to speak on this item? So it looks as though we don't have anyone wishing to speak on this item. So this public hearing is,
On Zoom?
yeah, I asked remotely. Madam City Clerk, do we have anyone?
No, none, Mayor.
None? Thank you. So this public hearing is now closed. The City Council will now deliberate to determine whether or not to take action on this item. If the council determines to proceed with the censure, then what political penalties, if any, should be attached to that determination. Under the censure procedures, Councilmember Garcia may not participate in the deliberation or vote. The city attorney will provide you with the question for deliberation. And now we have a statement by our city attorney.
As a reminder, the question before you is whether or not, based upon substantial evidence as presented this evening, as well as Councilmember Garcia's comments, Councilmember Garcia engaged in conduct that constitutes a violation of law or a serious violation of an adopted city policy. Substantial evidence means oral or written evidence on which a reasonable person is entitled to rely. Censure should not follow an occasional error in judgment which occurs in good faith and is unintentional.
Okay, so now we open the floor for deliberation amongst the council members. Council members?
Does anybody have any
And
comment?
for me.
I do have some comments, Madam Mayor. And so, you know, this whole thing is unfortunate, the fact that we have to be here. And I think regardless of what some folks may think, that this was not an easy decision to make. And I say that knowing very well that it was my name on the complaint. I really don't take any pleasure in this at all. But certainly I would say that it was what I felt to be my duty after seeing things and knowing certain things of misconduct, that there came a point in which I owe an explanation to the people who voted for me and who placed me here to say, you either stand up for what you say you do, or that's just show. That you say what you will say to get here, and once you're here, we enable, we allow things to happen, and and that my loyalty is more to the people in this dais than to the people who elect me, right? So, in terms of motive, I have served on this council for coming up on 6 years. I have observed many things in terms of decorum, conduct, that I didn't agree with. And granted, in that council, no one was going to do anything. It was just kind of slid under the rug. So in terms of motive, there's right and there's wrong. And certainly, as stated many times here today, an occasional lapse in judgment is one thing. A lapse in judgment over the course of years, a lapse of judgment after an intervention, a lapse of judgment after being told, a lapse of judgment after so many things is not a lapse of it's not an occasional lapse of judgment, in my opinion. And in terms of the timing, I make no excuses as to the dates in which the complaint has happened. I had no position in whether or not they happened last summer, last Christmas, or this March and this April, right? So the timing was not really up to me. The timing was provided by the person who made that conduct. And so of the totality of the results of the investigation, and I see them as such, there was the city council meeting on April 2nd. There were 2 League of Cities events, one in Burbank, one in Sacramento. For the city council meeting on April 2nd, it would have very much been opinion, observation, and whatnot if it wasn't for the very admission of the person who stated that they consumed alcohol before the meeting. And so it's no longer opinion, it's admission. For Burbank, of the 2 complaints, 1, you didn't show up to the meeting, or 2, you showed up to the meeting under the influence of alcohol. It's not observation, it's not assumption, because there's receipts. And the receipts have timestamps that at the time in which we were supposed to be in our hearing, there's a bar receipt that shows 6 shots of alcohol being consumed. What is the totality of 6 shots of vodka? Now, plausible deniability or possibility of just kind of poking at as to whether or not he attended. Yeah, I believe he attended some of it. And the roster shows his name there. But it's very quick to look at the minutes of that agenda and to show that the number of attendees does not equal the number of votes on the items of that meeting. There's at least 10 to 15 votes short of the attendance list. So at that point, we even have an admission from the Cal City staff person that does say that he saw Mr. Garcia present, but does not recall whether he was there for the entire meeting, right? So there's already just a little bit of doubt. I'm not questioning, and I cannot prove. I admit I cannot prove whether he was there for 5 minutes, an hour, the entirety of the thing. But we do have 2 receipts that shows consumption. We have witness statements that show that there was only partial. And then there are minutes that show that the math doesn't add up, right? So again, it's not occasional lapse of judgment. And let's not mistake that this is the expense of taxpayer dollars. And that is a responsibility that we all are responsible for, especially when we are being paid to perform a duty. And the last thing is the Sacramento trip. And it's not observation, it's not opinion. None of us were there, so none of us observed anything. It is based on the fact that what was testified by the person who was accused to the person that was with him were completely contradictory. And I want to say that because none of us were there, what really sparked our understanding that something went wrong was because of another investigation that is underway or that has concluded. And so I would like to ask the city attorney, can you confirm if there was another investigation related to the Sacramento trip or the conference of Sacramento?
Yes.
Can you state the nature of that investigation?
I can state the nature of the investigation. I want to confirm first that that investigation is not included in any way in the
Correct.
complaint or in this action.
Correct.
The nature of the complaint was a complaint of sexual harassment against Councilmember Garcia. And that's about all that I can say.
Okay. Has that investigation been
It
concluded?
has concluded.
Can you state the nature of the findings?
I cannot state the nature of the findings. I can state that it concluded with a finding with actions for Councilmember Garcia to take.
Okay. As a reminder, it was that investigation that led us to know that there was misbehavior at this conference. And so that's what prompted, again, understanding that none of these things are in anyone's benefit in terms of timing. I'm sure whoever is the victim of the actions of these do not find it very beneficial or politically advantageous. And so ultimately, I feel that it was my responsibility to say something, because otherwise what has been done and this investigation and others that have been done, if I did nothing, I would be failing the people who elected me, because I would be enabling behavior that I don't believe in and that none of us should be supporting. And so ultimately, members, colleagues, that is the motive behind this. And I will then conclude my comments.
To be clear, however, as you continue to deliberate, nothing about the other investigation should be considered here. It is not part of this. It was not part of this investigation in any way.
So now we come to the moment where I will ask for a motion to proceed with the censure. Excuse me.
I think do you want to talk about the resolution then? Okay, after they vote.
After the
Okay,
vote, yes. Okay. So, excuse me, let me restate this. So now we have to, take action on this. So I am asking my colleagues, do I have a motion to proceed with the censure of Councilmember Edgar Garcia?
Madam Mayor, may I ask, as the person who makes the motion, do they have to state which of the 6, any or all, that they would wish to be included in their motion?
It was our intent to see if the council wished to consider censure and then separately to consider what remedy should be
Okay,
attached to it.
that clarifies. All right, thank you. So I so move to move forward on the censure resolution.
Do I have a second? So I will second the motion.
Can I have a voice roll call, please? Councilmember Carter?
Yes.
Councilmember Oliva?
Yes.
Interim Mayor Pro Tem Cardenas Singh?
Yes.
Mayor Marroquin?
Yes.
4-0.
So now we move to adopt resolution number 24, a resolution of the City Council of the City of El Centro censuring council member.
We need to move, I'm sorry, we've split this into two. So
Okay.
if you can turn to page 2 of the resolution, you have before you 5 items. The first is simply a statement of censure. So if you look at items 2, 3, 4, and 5, removal as mayor pro tem, removal from our city council committees, ineligibility for reimbursement, and repayment of the amount of money for the Sacramento conference in the amount of $1,874.90. Those would be the 4 items for you to consider, as well as any other which may not be listed here. Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's okay. We just want to ensure that we follow the process.
We've never done this.
Pardon?
So we've never really done this
We've never
before.
done this before, but, okay, so, Madam City Attorney, at this point, then do I read this section?
Yes, if you wanted to read that section to give people an idea of what they have to consider.
So the vote passed 4-0. And so now therefore, after diligent investigation and review, the City Council of the City of El Centro finds as follows. The council hereby censures Council Member Edgar Garcia for violations of law and serious violations of city policy. Council Member Garcia hereby is removed as the Mayor Pro Tem. Council Member Garcia is removed from all City Council committees. Councilmember Garcia is not eligible for reimbursement for attendance at any city event or event sponsored by the city. Councilmember Garcia shall repay the amount for the Sacramento conference of $1,874.90 as provided by policy 105.1, and/or that such amount shall be deducted from his monthly council stipend or any other monies due to him from the city. This determination is a political act to serve as punishment for wrongdoing and carries no fine or suspension of his rights as a council member. This resolution shall take effect immediately upon its adoption. And so, does that conclude?
Yeah.
Yes.
They just need to let you know, or you need to indicate what you propose.
What do you mean by that?
Well, does the council wish to consider all of these?
Oh, I see.
Or
Okay, so
just some, or
do we vote on them?
once you have a motion on what you want the remedies to be, yes.
Okay. So, colleagues, so now I ask that we then have input on what you would like the, I guess, the remedies or the, what is it?
Penalties.
The penalties to be against Councilmember Garcia. Looking at this list between items number 1 through 6. Is this, do we want to impose all these penalties, or is there anything on this list of items that you would wish to remove?
Madam Mayor, I'd like to recommend all 5, but with the 5th, the differentiation being that we are stating that he shall repay the amount for the Sacramento in its entirety as opposed to a deduction from the stipends.
Okay. Any input or recommendations from any other colleagues? No? Okay. So then we will modify number 5, okay, so that they shall not be deducted from his monthly council stipend or any other monies due to him from the city. That will be a repayment directly to the city from Mr. Garcia personally. Okay. And so what do I do now?
If you would just like them to vote on the resolution as a whole.
Okay. All right. So now I ask for a vote on the entirety of the resolution with that modification to item number 5 on the penalties. Then I ask for a vote of the members do I have to ask for a motion or
No. I
Yes, a
think it's
motion
just
and a
answer.
second, please.
a motion and a second? Okay, may I get a motion, please?
I'll make that motion, Madam Mayor.
And a second, please?
I'll second, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you. And so, voice
Roll call,
vote, please.
yes. Councilmember Carter?
Yes.
Councilmember Oliva?
Yes.
Interim Mayor Pro Tem Cardenas Singh?
Yes.
Mayor Marroquin?
Yes.
It passes 4-0.
So that resolution is adopted 4-0. And at this point, thank you for your attendance. This meeting is adjourned.